What's up, guys? So we just wanted to come over and kind of discuss some feelings about Arrested Development before we hop into our next show, because we didn't give you the 5th season. This is how we're saying goodbye to Arrested Development. In case you're wondering, I'm Arianna.
And I'm Maple.
So, first things first. First 3 seasons,
Amazing. For me, this is my first time watching something like this. So the style.
When you say like this, what do you mean?
Just like any comedy show like this. I haven't.
So like
really,
a sitcom.
Sitcom, yeah. Having the style of comedy was like new to me, and also I think just having my like Gen Z, like just like the generational gap. A lot of things probably went right over my head, and I think my jaw was ajar for a lot of it. But I did enjoy myself.
But when you're saying, it was the first time I've seen in real life myself be amused by something that if you don't understand the time in which this was made, like you could see on your face a couple of times where you were terrified to laugh. You're like, that is overtly like whatever it is. But it's like, I know the year this came out. I know the sense of humor in the time, and like, I know, so I can laugh. I know it's kind of wrong to laugh. I know it's dark humor, but I also know that type of humor was so mainstream. It's like, it wasn't edgy. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like it is. And I will say the first 3 seasons, it still is giving satire.
Is the content self-aware? Like, I don't feel like this show is punching down because it means to, like, or that's the intention of it. The intention is that they're making fun of this dynamic of family that's like uber rich and uber out of touch.
Right.
While simultaneously, like, they're terrible people, so they do terrible things.
Yes.
And we're laughing at the jokes that they're making because they're also horrible people. I feel like that's why it's like not aged poorly, despite despite that gap and despite that being like very new to me. Like, coming into that, I'm just like, oh, okay, like, all right. But I don't know, I think it's still funny. I definitely laughed.
Yo, you were shocked. You were shocked to see that on the screen, being like, she said that? Like, yeah. Sadly enough, there were like people in real life just saying those things out their mouths during that time too, because
I know
it was a wild time. But yeah, I like those first 3 seasons are so funny, and I really do think it's hilarious, like, to see in action the difference, like watching your Gen Z lens versus my millennial lens is just like, we usually don't have as much of a disconnect. And that one was like, it was just I'm just cackling, and you're just like,
yeah.
Like, you obviously caught the vibe later on, and it was like,
I mean, I feel like even later on, I still was like,
yeah, still some dropping pieces, but I will say it was interesting to just experience it, because it's been so long since going back and like looking at a show that is taking so much from pop culture and the zeitgeist and utilizing it within their show. And that was another reason a lot of stuff wasn't landing with you, because like you didn't have the exposure to so many of those things where it's like, I mean, there's a bunch of it that I wasn't getting just because it was even commenting on a time before what I was.
But I feel like you at least knew, like, you're like, I don't fully know what that is, but like you had an idea of like the base of what they were trying to say. And I feel like being able to reference you was at least a nice way to watch it, because if not, there would have been a lot of times that I would have been like,
no context.
I don't know what anyone's saying. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like,
right. And that's fair. And that's really fair.
Yeah.
And just the men of that. And then there was a lot of stuff that, again, half of my preteen, early teenage years was literally just spent consuming pop culture on VH1, because I wasn't allowed to have MTV, so I needed to be MTV adjacent. So I know a lot of stuff about stuff that I probably wouldn't even know. Like, someone my age probably doesn't have the same vault of knowledge as I do, because I was just watching VH1 on a loop. And at the time, they were doing a lot of, I love the 60s, 70s, 80s. Like, I know a lot about the 80s and 70s, which no one my age probably also has that same knowledge, because I was just consuming that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have to say my favorite episodes from Arrested Development, though, would be Uncle Jack, and one of my favorite lines of all time is, "I won't go wheelchair," and I'll never I will still just like, I've started stimming that when it's stuff I don't want to do. Like someone said something to me the other day. I was like, I won't go wheelchair. Like, it's still so, because I think it's hilarious. Also, the Blue episodes with
oh my God,
Tobias.
yes.
But when it's the like you're looking for like they conditioned us so well to look for all the blue, and then he's the glitter.
Yes. What episode is it that he's in the banana suit and gets airlifted and then dropped into the bay, and Lucille is high on pot brownies?
Oh God. Afternoon Delight. So season 2, episode 6.
This episode, I just remember liking. This one is one that I like.
And he's like, they're laughing with me, Michael.
They're laughing with me, Michael. Yeah, and he's like, literally, that was that the way that all concluded with her like slowly crashing her car. Yeah, I think that one was the one that is most memorable for me. And then also I will say that late in the later episodes, him like falling in love with his arch nemesis.
Oh, Job's storyline.
Yeah, like Job throughout for me like was a character that I liked the whole time.
That's fair.
So and then Tobias too, like I think through the Blue Man Crew, the Never Nude thing will be something that's with me forever, and like I'll never not know about the Never Nude community. And it is real.
There's a few of them, you know.
There are a few of them out there.
So,
yeah,
and I think it's the first 3 seasons. I don't really have anything to like critique on that.
No.
When we get to the 4th season, I think
okay, I have to complain first because we use a lot of streaming services. I do not like the way that they have this show formatted on the streaming platforms, because they have this remixed version propped first as the easiest version of the show to find for the 4th season.
Right.
And in order to find the original cut, because there is some debate on this, which we did not watch the original cut, you have to go into a whole separate area that's not labeled, and it's under extras, and then you have to scroll past all the extras and trailers, and then all of those episodes are there.
Which is fair.
But having the remix version be what is easily accessible when there is such a debate amongst their viewers is like a weird way to format that on the platform.
It is. I think they should have given it, they should be like the remix version and the original. It should just be like right there.
Yeah.
But also, though, this is how I feel about it, and this is why like that debate doesn't ruffle my feathers as much. As at the end of the day, if it was easy to follow and they enjoyed it the first time, they never would have made the remix version.
Right.
So
but
I don't know if I'm losing out. I know like people are saying if we watch it, then we like it better.
No, for the people who do watch it and have watched it and would watch it again, I'm just saying for watchability purposes, I think the way that they did that for their audience, like who the people that they've still got with them.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that that's a weird way to do that.
I don't think it would have mattered either way. I think it would have made it less, the repetitiveness of it all in season 4 was genuinely so hard.
It was rough. Having to sit through 4 minutes of re-explanation of what you just saw per 20-minute episode.
And I understand why they did it, because again, the whole reason they're doing the remix is because it was apparently the original was hard to follow. But at the end of the day, I think I would have just preferred to be confused, because that would have kept me more engaged. It's just like, it's already a half-hour show.
The green screen?
Oh, the green screen and the reshoots and everything else for that was
some of the voiceovers.
They sounded insane.
Like you're in a tin can.
100%. And I just didn't like that. Also, I think a lot of another place where the magic is so severely lost, which would I think maybe change things if we would have kept going, is just like making Michael just as poopy as the rest of his family, when obviously in the first 3 seasons, he's definitely kind of narcissistic and all that stuff, but he's like aware of it, but he's still trying to be a normal person. Them just making him full-blown wacky in that season was just not it. Like I found him to be the most annoying character I've ever watched in that type of show. Like he was
like out of nowhere
irritating. Like get out of your like I didn't find it funny. I was just like this is just, and I don't know if it was because it's too close to like, I don't know if it was like the aging up or the what. I don't know exactly why I disliked it so much, but it was so obnoxious because he wasn't giving George Michael a ton of autonomy. In the other seasons, he did just kind of be like, this is my son, and we're like best friends and all these things. But he never was, and he wasn't like,
he wasn't
really
a helicopter parent.
He wasn't really listening to like what his needs may be. He was doing a lot of inferring and how it fit into his story, which is fine. But this was just like a step too far in the way it's like, now you're just annoying.
Well, and because the fact that he was removed, like he wasn't a helicopter parent in the way that like he couldn't even be bothered to learn Egg's name.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like he couldn't even be bothered to remember like his girlfriend, but now I'm supposed to assume that he would be so overbearing that he's going to live in his apartment, and now the miscommunication or his dorm room, and now the miscommunication is that obviously no one wants this grown-ass man who doesn't go to the school in the dorm room. That's just kind of, it's kind of stupid, whereas like having him be like,
he was always self-involved.
The working rich dad. A feather?
I don't know. It's like you released it.
I did release him.
He was self-aware of how he didn't. Do you know what I mean? It's like he was.
It's just that's such not a funny joke.
It's Michael in season 3 was self-aware enough to know that he was an asshole, and he kept doing things, and that was like why when he would do stuff, it was so kind of funny but kind of messy. It's like you just don't know that they can't stand you. It's like, so you do know.
I mean, even when he was lying to the women that he was with, like he actively was trying to lie. Like he knew he was lying and coming up with a story, and the whole thing was is we knew he would always come back and be like, God damn it, like this lie's not fucking working out for me.
Yeah.
Like, and then he'd just move on.
And it's like you want us to expect that this person who was running the whole company and trying to keep the family together for years, and the person you think is the most dependable family member is just this out of touch. Or like when he goes in and like he knows George Michael's the other lover and he doesn't care. And the other thing is like, it's just not funny. It's just not, I just didn't find, that was the issue. Like there were definitely some storylines I still found, like some jokes that were hitting and found funny, but overall the arching themes throughout season 4, I just didn't find funny. The bits weren't as good. Like some of them hit, like some were good. Like I'm not gonna, the Real Housewives of like jail and Lucille getting in with like their Asian gang or whatever, like that was hilarious. You know what I mean? Like there were still some bits that were funny for sure, but it just overall it just felt like it was trying too hard and it fell flat. And I think they kept over, like when you're like, if I have to see the stair car one more time, like I think
don't make another damn joke about that stair car, and they didn't.
Yeah,
that was like they knew right where to push the envelope.
You changed the timeline on that.
I don't know. Yeah, I think my anger like literally changed the timeline. There was never another joke about that damn stair car.
Yeah, and I think like again, I think it had its ups and downs. It just for how much we enjoyed the first 3 seasons, it didn't feel like we were going to be doing you guys, our audience, justice or ourselves justice and continuing a series that we just weren't enjoying. Because I know what it's like when I really enjoy something and I show it to a friend and they don't like it as much, and it kind of hurts your feelings, and you're like, oh, well, this. So we didn't want to keep watching to get like a chuckle here and there out of it. We don't want to ever keep watching something that we are not vibing with, because we don't want to yuck anybody's yum. If this is your show or stuff, we don't want to keep watching something and
also
poo-pooing it when it's just not our vibe.
There is a difference too.
Yeah.
I think if I were watching this on my own personal time, I could probably finish the show.
Yeah.
But like I would want to probably be like coloring or
playing games on your phone.
Yeah, like be on my phone in between, and like
it's a background show.
Maybe we're cooking and like I'm, we've got the TV on, and so I'm listening, but like I'm not intently only focusing on just what's happening in front of me.
Right.
I think that it's just like there's, And I have shows that are like that, and I like those shows for those purposes where I don't have to be fully invested. But I felt like the comedy kept me fully invested for the first 3 seasons, and I felt like it was just very disengaged, or you could be disengaged, and in the 4th season, but sitting down and
having to give the show all the
same attention as before, when it wasn't giving me what it was giving before, made it very difficult to take in and enjoy the last episodes, aside from just like, I think like, you know what I miss, and like as we brought up, you know, there are a lot of references that I probably missed throughout this, and like a lot of the comedy is jarring to me in the way that like Tropic Thunder had the same kind of thing where I'm like, that's really inappropriate, but like I feel like I can, you know, start laughing at some points in times after I get through my initial shock of the comedy, because the show is self-aware. But by the end I was like, who is this for? Like, why are we trying to make certain jokes, or what am I supposed to be laughing at? And like, I feel bad that I'm not laughing, because I do enjoy the show up to the certain point. And then I'm like, you know, keep watching, hanging on, hoping that something will click for me eventually. But I think it was really just the formatting, like really them on the last.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think the issue was they tried to do something different because they were coming back. So then they veered too far. So then they went to try and correct course. And then it was like an overcorrection. And like at the end of the day, maybe we would have felt different if we watched the different version, but I don't think so, because we still just
it's still the same thing.
We didn't find it funny.
Yeah, I think, and that's the thing. It's still the content to us didn't land. It wasn't as funny, and
that's kind of just our opinion. We wanted to just give a little bit more of a deep dive of why we aren't moving forward with the 5th season, even though we did complete the 4th season. So that's kind of that. But so we just wanted, you know, come in and give you guys an explanation.
See, look at even Lucille fights real prison
housewives. That's hilarious. I'm sorry. That is just so.
I also like that Lucille as a character is now in my arsenal. Like, I love using her as reaction pictures and GIFs. I think.
Yeah, because she's a whole vibe.
I feel like I unlocked a character. Saying. Yes, like I unlocked a character. It feels like I acquired a Pokemon with that one. So Lucille stays with me forever. And also just Liza Minnelli. I've never seen Liza Minnelli in anything. Was not privy to her game, so
or her lore, because
like,
it's so good.
Or her lore, like learning about who freaking Liza Minnelli is awesome. Like, love that lady. That was so cool, and I'm glad that like I'm just glad that this, for who she is, this to be my introduction to
hilarious.
Her as a person entirely is wild. Is a wild way to learn about who the Liza Minnelli is.
It really. Truly.
So yeah, Lucille number 2. They're my Pokemons. I collected both of them. So,
and at the end of the day, that's beautiful. That's what we're taking away from Arrested Developed. So thank you guys so much for going on this journey with us, and we'll see ya in the next one.
Bye.